From a survey done in 2026, 72% of developers who have tried AI say they use it every single day in relation to software development. But this leaves a damning question. Should AI be used in software development? What are the benefits? But most importantly, what are the dangers? Hello there, I'm the dev Kenji, and in this video we'll be covering the dangers of using AI in software development, while also exploring how it can be used positively to impact your development workflow in a way that you've never seen before. And while this topic is about AI usage in programming, we will not be covering the trap that is vibe coding. Rather, we'll be focusing on the usage of AI by people in the software development industry and how it can impact them. So, without further ado, let's dive into Chapter 1. The dangers of too much AI usage. While many people across the world use AI for different reasons, they often get criticized for offloading their brains to AI. And while this is often a problem, this issue becomes 10 times worse when introduced to any programming industry. To reference the study mentioned at the start of this video, less experienced developers estimate that 45% of their committed code is AI assisted, slightly more than 40% estimated by their most experienced peers. While this statistic sounds incredibly scary for the future of software development, this doesn't necessarily mean they are completely offloading their brains to AI entirely. However, just as a thought experiment, let's split the less experienced developers and the most experienced developers into two different groups. In this thought experiment, Group 1, that being the less experienced, tends to use AI heavily. Whenever they forget how a certain piece of code is written, they ask AI how it's written, just to copy and paste that code and forget it once again until the next time it happens. Then we have Group 2. Group 2, being the most experienced developers, know the dangers of not using their muscle memory. They know that if they do not utilize and recall what they know, or even take the time to memorize and understand what they are writing, they will end up losing that ability in the long run. Group 2 still uses AI. However, they use it in a way that will benefit them. This may include researching the codebase of an API which there is limited or scattered information on, asking AI to summarize the usage or purpose of a class that is badly written or extremely long, or even asking AI to identify flaws in their own code that others may have missed. Group 2 knows the dangers of the tool that they are using, but also know the potential it has to improve their workflow, whereas Group 1 offloads most of, if not all, their thinking to an outside source. But all this talk about Group 1 or less experienced developers gets me thinking, how does AI impact people who are learning to code? Chapter 2. The impact on learners. As a programmer myself, I could not ever imagine how hard it would be learning to code in 2026. You see, when I started learning to code, AI didn't exist. Well, at least not in the way it does today. AI in software development has done some bad, but also a lot of good to the industry. But you see, AI is only as good as the programmer behind it and the restraint learned, like we discussed previously. So, what happens when you introduce AI to people learning to code? Well, according to a study done by the University of Technology, Sydney, in a large randomized experiment involving nearly 1,000 students, those given access to an AI-powered assistant appeared to facilitate students' problem-solving while learning. However, their learning suffered once the AI was taken away. You see, this doesn't just apply to students in any teaching context, it can also be applied with programming. If you've ever followed a tutorial for programming, especially if you don't have a deep understanding of what you're writing, you've likely felt that you aren't learning anything, and when you try to write your own code, you get stuck. This is simply because you don't yet understand to a deep level what's being written. And while this isn't necessarily bad in the context of tutorials, AI can make the situation dangerous. Why, may you ask? Well, the reason is quite simple actually. When you use tutorials to guide you, you are limited by the video or guide you are watching. If you want to add something else that the video doesn't cover and nothing else exists online, well, guess what? You'll need to figure that out yourself. AI completely removes the barrier, and while it does feel good, complete freedom isn't always in your best interest. And yes, one could argue that you don't fully need to learn how to code for small, one-time projects. There I could agree. But what happens if the project gets too big for the AI to fully grasp and it messes up? What if someone reports a bug, or even a bunch of bugs that you don't know how to fix, and the AI doesn't know either? Often, when AI tries to fix complex bugs, it ends up diagnosing incorrectly and breaking something else in the process. However, once again, AI can in fact be incredibly useful for learning to code in one very specific situation. That situation being an AI tailored to learning to code specifically. Have you ever heard of a site called boot.dev? No? Wait, this isn't a sponsor. I swear, this is not a sponsor. Please do not skip. Thank you. Boot.dev is quite literally the only site I've seen that actually utilizes AI in a way that doesn't hinder you. According to online consensus from one user on Reddit about the AI tool itself, the AI tool for education they've employed is very good at teaching you concepts without just flat out providing the answers. Very different from what the other AIs do. And from another user talking about their experience from 1 year, I did boot.dev without any previous experience with programming whatsoever too, but I thought it was perfect. Now, as I said, this isn't a sponsor, so it's not about boot.dev itself. Rather, it's to show you that AI can be used in a positive way, even in this category, which is mostly negative effects from AI. Now, just before we move on, I should mention that I have never used boot.dev myself, for the sole reason that I already know how to code, so using it for the purpose of this video would have a lot of bias. As for the source about boot.dev being from Reddit, I feel that human experience is better suited for this context, rather than a study. Chapter 3. How can AI be used positively in software development? Most of this video has been showcasing a lot of negative impact AI has on software development, but what about the positive impact AI has on this industry? Does it outweigh the negatives? Possibly. You see, most of the negatives I mentioned in this video do indeed lead to bad outcomes, but AI isn't the root of the problem. AI does not make the software developers or even their bosses choose to use it. Do you remember the thought experiment we did at the first chapter of this video, where the more experienced developers from Group 2 would not use AI for tasks that would affect them negatively long term? That's what we call self-restriction. This is what it all comes down to. The ways AI can improve software development all comes down to what can AI do that enhances myself and my own thinking? Things I mentioned before, like API research, or summarizing long code, or even debugging. But offloading your thinking as a default go-to option will always be bad. But using it as a last resort at the end of a long day, or even to get something fixed before your boss yells at you, will always be more practical and efficient. Conclusion. So after all of this, what is the answer? Should AI be used in software development? If you are learning to code, avoid AI altogether. It will be better in the long run. However, what if you already know what you're doing? What if you already have a good grasp on programming? What if you already have a deep understanding of what you are doing? In that case, it's all about balance, really. You see, people praise AI, others hate it, but not everything is black and white. And in this case, you should only use AI if necessary, if you need help with researching an API, or even summarizing something you need explained to you. But hey, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the usage of AI in software development? Are there any devs that do or don't use AI? I would love to hear your thoughts on why. For any non-programmers still here, I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic as well. As always, the sources used in this video will be linked in the description. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you so choose to. Oh, and do follow my Twitch to catch me live doing some modding. Anyways, that'll be about it. This has been the Dev Kenji, and I am out.